Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, this is the fourth lecture of the project management series. This is very important because whenever we start projects, we conduct a proper feasibility study to ensure that the project is uh, achieved or is going to achieve the desired objectives and targets. We previously discussed that normally before the start of the project in the public sector, we use the PC1 and PC2, which stands for Planning Cycle Performa 1 and Planning Cycle Performa 2. For all projects in the public sector, by and large, we are using the PC1 or the project proposal or project digest. But in the mega projects where we have highly complex situations and where the execution agency has not enough experience to deal with the project, we have the project feasibility or PC2, which is sometimes also called the concept clearance or project pilot. This exercise or this presentation is mostly about the various facets of the project feasibility study. We discussed this that before the start of the project, which is the pre-project stage, we are using the PC1 and PC2, and once the project is being executed, we are going for the monitoring and progress reporting, which is reflected in the PC3, A and B. A is for the monthly reports, and B is for the quarterly reports. And once the project is completed, or near completion, we submit the completion report of PC4, and after 1 year down the road, the project is completed, we use the PC5. The feasibility analysis is basically to ensure that whatever we invest in the project is worth it, and we try to assess the decision making process through our very robust feasibility studies. I'll not go into the details of these definitions, but the last one is extensive data related to financial and operational impacts and will include advantages and disadvantages of both the current and the proposed plan. Uh, the middle one, the development projects, especially large and complex one, often meet with difficulties during their execution process. A feasibility study is therefore a prerequisite for preparation of a major development project on sound land is not ruled out even for a minor one. There can be various components of the feasibility analysis. In the World Bank, we sometimes see 15 or 16, and some of the books we may see 4 or 5, but one of the most common feasibility analysis can be economic, financial, operational, and technical, schedule or time feasibility, legal and contractual. This is particular for the international projects, and then the political stability, the political feasibility is also very important, marketing, ethical, and environmental. Based on the specific requirements of the project, one can aid furthermore. In the technical analysis, which is very important, we are trying to see that whether the project is, or the PC1 uh, is providing all the information about the project based on the impact analysis, the location, lane stability, and suitability, utilities, raw material, availability of machinery, plants, and tools, transportation facilities, manpower, climate, demand and supply analysis, government incentives, and of course the technological aspect of the project which we are conceiving. In the organizational or managerial feasibility, we are interested to see the organizational setup which we would introduce to implement the project. There can be separation of organization in which we are, for example, in a construction project, we may separate the design and construction into two different activities, or we may integrate them as design and build projects in which the owner builder operation is handled by the same uh, group of organizations. You can see this is a typical matrix organization in which we see that the top management is having the functional divisions, and then there are projects 1, project 2, and all these functional divisions are lending support to the success of the projects. So the project managers are directly dealing with the top management or the president, and the functional managers are also uh, accountable are reporting to the senior management or the executive management. And sometime within the project manager, we can have a program manager. We can coordinate with the top management and the project manager. In some books, these are called managers of the project managers. This is typically an engineering project in which we have a vice president, and this might be under the president. And this is engineering vice president, and within the engineering, we have the structural engineering department, we have the mechanical, we have the electrical. So these are three departments, and if we look at the left-hand side, we can see that there are two major projects like transmission power tower project and substation. And for each of these projects, we have a separate project manager, and this project manager is dealing with the all the functional managers or functional departments through their functional heads. The marketing analysis is again very important to see that if we are doing a commercial project, what are the prospects that this project will be uh, having impact in terms of producing new customers and new markets. For example, we may go for the test or pilot test marketing. We may go for the marketing planning. Uh, we go for the marketing share determination. It's very important to assess your profit and loss or break even of the new product. Then the competition, price competition strategy, whether we go for skimming or penetration strategies, the distribution networks, advertisement plans, sale promotion strategies, and life cycle analysis. This is very important because sometimes if the product is having a very short product life cycle, then we need to re-engineer that so that we can extend the span of the product, because it's not very feasible every time to bring new product after a very short span of time. The financial analysis is very important. We need to answer the question that why this money should be put into this project and what are the strengths and weaknesses of this project in terms uh, of the financial viability. And normally we are interested to see three very fundamental reports or statements. One is the income expenditure statement, which is sometimes called the provisional profit and loss statements. Then the cash flows, which also would include the tax predictions, and then finally the balance sheet, the project balance sheet, the asset and liabilities during the life cycle of the project. There are various tools we are using for the financial analysis: the simple rate of return, the break-even analysis, payback period, net present value, internal rate of return, external rate of return, financial ratio analysis, and benefit cost ratios. The most commonly we use is the break-even analysis for the manufacturing concerns, and then the net present value again is very important, which looks into the discounted values of the future expenditure and returns, and to see that what can be the net present value of the project over its life cycle. And normally the rule of thumb is that the net present value should always be positive, and when we are comparing the two projects, then the project with larger value of net present value is considered. Internal rate of return, we normally decide or discuss that this is the discount rate at which the total net present value of the project would become zero. And this IR, internal rate of return, is the minimum investment rate we would accept for the project. At the same time, we have the break-even analysis. Uh, it, this is the manufacturing concern, the product output at which the total profits and cost, returns and revenue, expenditures and revenue would be equal, and beyond that we would start earning. So break-even analysis tells us the minimum number of the products we would produce to assure that the project is or the production unit has got its expenditures, and then followed by that would come the profit. The benefit cost ratio is again very strong analysis in which we try to see that the benefits of the projects would increase or enhance or exceed the cost of the project during the life cycle. And normally the ratio must be more than one for a feasible project. When we go for the profitability or benefit cost analysis or cost benefit analysis, sometime uh, we uh, we need to have a lot of social benefits as well, and this very challenging for the project managers or the decision makers to assess uh, the dollar or the rupee value of the social cost and benefits. Uh, this may be measured in terms of impact on the foreign trade, effect on trade human resources, direct indirect impact on environment. Some of the techniques we are using is the net value added, or value addition in the value chain, the poverty elevation or distribution effect, foreign exchange effect, sensitivity analysis, the impact of project in case of cost and time overruns, and risk analysis, which is very important and we will discuss as a separate knowledge area. The economic feasibility is a broader perspective in which we try to see that how the project is going to impact the national development uh, in terms of the national income, the per capita income, the change in the national assets, and so on. So it will be in terms of capital cost, the working capital requirements, estimation of operation costs, depreciation, taxes, and profits. So all these are some of the very important attributes we would need to have the economic feasibility. Uh, so the tangible one-time cost or capital cost or capex may be associated with the startup in the construction of new projects, initiation, system development, hardware and software purchases, training, site preparations, data system convergence. So these are some of the capital costs we normally have the one-time costs. The economic feasibility may include the tangible recurring cost or operational cost, and then might be intangible cost, which cannot be measured very easily in terms of dollars. For example, the customer loss or employee morale loss is another. The intangible cost or benefits cannot be measured easily, but it can be measured in terms of increased employee morale, competitive necessity, more timely information, promotion of organizational learning and understanding. Operational feasibility again is very important to see that how the desired objectives can be met. For example, the functional illiterate line workers can make up to 90% of staff can propose system work at your facility. Certainly, we need to have a very uh, trained human resource. Another very important is schedule feasibility is very important. The time management, because we always say that time is the spirit of the project. So we will discuss this in a quite detail. In the legal and contractual uh, feasibility is very important. We are dealing with the international projects, with the laws of the other countries are important. And again, when there are trade unions and you are working with the different trade unions, then definitely their new systems which we are bringing has to be accepted by the trade unions of the organizations. The political feasibility is also very important because any proposed system which we implement in a political system is very important to be in coordination with the political environment. And in case of any change in political system or political governments, there can be impacts of the projects. The ethical feasibility again have very important that it should not violate any legal or ethical uh, laws, and morality should not be compromised because the problem may in the project at the end of the day hamper the progress if there is any ethical dilemmas. For example, a lot of e-waste is generated now and their disposal is becoming one of the biggest issue. Similarly, the atomic waste again is a very big issue, their disposal, and many of the developing countries are exporting this waste to the underdeveloped third world countries and at a very small amount of money. Another very important feasibility, which is becoming more and more important, is the environmental impact assessment. And we have to see that if there is any negative impact of the new projects on the environment, then how can we mitigate or reduce the impact of this project? There are a couple of steps we normally follow the environmental impact assessment because there might be legal compliance. For example, the Environmental Protection Agency now requires to comply with the EPA requirements by the new projects. If there is any environmental issue and we sort out in time, then definitely it would avoid the delays in the project. The informed decision making would be easy in consultation with the public, and it further improve the environmental design of the proposal. Some of the stages which we normally follow in the environmental impact assessment is the screening, which we normally see that whether the project is, candidate for detailed environmental assessment or not. So there are three schedules defined by the Environmental Protection Agency, in which we have the projects which do not require any environmental assessment, and then there is a group of projects which require only initial environmental examination, and then there is a group of larger number of projects which have impact on environment, for which the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency of Pakistan, is proposed to have a detailed environmental impact assessment. Once this is done, then we go to the scoping, which would mean that we try to identify the major attributes and parameters which we will be highlighting and analyzing in details. For example, in a construction project, we normally see that what is the impact on the flora and fauna, the impact on the visual quality, impact on the pollution, noise pollution, air pollution, water pollution, and then maybe some ethical issues. Once this is decided that the main four or five or six attributes will be requiring a detailed analysis under the scoping, then we would go to collect the baseline data. Now, this is very important to have the baseline data because we cannot predict the impact of new projects unless we don't have the baseline. Unfortunately, a reliable baseline for the environmental attributes has been a very big challenge for all the analyses. And there is a time that all the new researchers may be engaged in this data collection and surveys. And once we get the baseline data, then we try to predict the impact of the new construction. This is environmental impact, and then once the impact is assessed, then we go for the mitigations and alternatives, different alternatives we work out, and then we go for the environmental reporting, and then finally, once this project is approved or approved with some revisions, then we go for the environmental monitoring. Now, the first part of the environmental impact assessment is really done very professionally for almost every project, mega project in Pakistan. But unfortunately, when it comes to the environmental monitoring, it has been very poor, and we have not been able to implement the project environmental impact decisions in a very coordinated way, and that is why that we see a lot of waste in the environment. The second part is which I would not discuss today. That is about the various planning bodies in Pakistan, and I think this is already discussed in a briefly, but we would discuss this in detail in next time. Thank you very much, and have a nice time.